makes you think you deserve it?
When you've been working since you were 13, promise mom by everything. Burnt so often, fire talking, scars so dark they fill your dreams. Nightmares to the young and clean. Life will rain for some it seems. Pray for days when heaven stays, but you ain't put no work in for the crown. You ain't put no work in for the crown.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Unplugging, episode 25, Guides to Dating. So Leo, what are we talking about this time?
Guides to dating. This one's kind of long overdue, as a matter of fact. Dr. Levantes, look at you, man. Anyone out here? Yeah, we're still here, my man. We're still here trying to give you guys the spice, the juice, the good stuff, the goodies. We're still trying to do all that. As Chris had already mentioned as the title of our video today, Guides to Dating. Now, a lot of what we're going to talk about here, we brought up some points in the past that are going to be somewhat relevant to what we're talking about today, but we're going to spice it up. We're going to change up some things, and who knows, I might even throw a little bit of Riz in there as well, you know what I mean? Kind of mix it up.
Some Riz. I'm sorry.
that was an improper way to use Riz, by the way. I just wanted to say it. So we'll see, man. We'll see. We'll definitely get some stuff going. So we'll get straight to it, guys. We'll get straight to it. So number one, our first point, number one here, I want to start off with when it comes to, this is mostly for the guys, right? Maybe we can make a separate video for women, even though I'm just going to be a little blunt here. Women don't really have to present too much to the table compared to what men have to present. I'm going to start off just like that. But we'll get to a little bit of the nitty-gritty here, right? So number one, when it comes to guys, right, just for the guy side, men, when you're asking girls out, I've said this in one of our past videos, you have to show intent. The intent is you're not trying to be her friend. Stop talking to girls in your mind. You're like, man, I want to take this girl out. I want to have sex with her. I want to do this and that. And you're trying to be her goddamn friend. Don't do that. Stop doing that. We brought this up maybe once. I think it was just one time that we brought it up in like a past video. But seriously, guys, you have to really go in with intent. Part of you going up to a girl and convincing her that you're interested in her is to actually show her that you're interested. Go up to her, and I've made some little examples in the past about, look, if you feel confident, you feel like you've got yourself kind of more put together, and you notice certain signs, especially like if you're at a gathering, a family gathering, and you happen to see like a girl who's, of course, not related to you, or a friend's gathering, you went out with some friends, you happen to meet a girl, and you see these cues, you see these signals. A girl's twirling her hair when she looks at you. She looks at you and she kind of looks at you a certain way, and she smiles. She turns her body to you. She's not like right here, and she just kind of looks at you for like a split second and then turns away. She actually turns. She turns to you, your direction. And this might be a bit of a nuance for some people, but the fact that she turns your direction, and every now and then she'll turn her head your direction, just kind of see, check you out a little bit, turn her head, but then keep doing this. Like it's not that big of a nuance. It really isn't. It's just read between the lines a little bit. That's what it boils down to. Or you see that she's kind of far away somewhere and she's getting closer. She's relocating in certain areas. Like, so she might be in, like, if you guys are like in the backyard or something with like some friends, you guys are having like a party or whatever, you're at a club, wherever. She's like on one whole side, on just the other side of the whole building, and then now is halfway through the building close to you, now a quarter close to you. You see what I mean? Like, pick up on these things a little bit. It's not hard if you just read between the lines just a little bit. Because the one thing I want to get off here is a lot of things men do when it comes to women, especially, and if you're trying to be cordial and you're trying to ask a girl out or just, see what she's about. A lot of strategies, no matter how redundant some of them can be, many strategies can still work for you in your favor with one catalytic factor, is that she already finds you attractive. That's assuming if the girl likes you. Yeah. Just as long as you don't do something stupid or do something that just completely turns her off or just makes her feel uncomfortable, you can do many those You could do many things as long as she already, and assuming that she's attracted to you and you see certain cues already. All right, those are things to definitely look into. So when you're going up to her, of course, and I wanted to get that point off because I think it's important for men to kind of read between the lines a little bit. All right. So you're there, you go up to a girl, and of course you say, look, hey, listen, I've seen you around. I think you're very attractive. I'd like to see if I can take you out tonight. I know some places, or plan ahead, plan a little bit ahead. I know some places. I can pick you up at this time. And if you're even more confident, you can even suggest on what to wear, things like that. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much how it'll be from there. That's if you're asking her out. Okay. That's when you ask her out and you give direction. Women want direction. They want a man to lead. So stop going up to a girl and then you're just like, oh, well, I like you, this and that. What do you like to do? Where do you want to go? What place do you like to go to? No. Stop relinquishing your leadership role and giving it to her. Stop doing that. Like, believe it or not, when men relinquish their role of being a leader, innately, intuitively, women will feel like they have to now have this assertiveness with them. They have to now build a masculine role with you. Just with you. Not with any other guy. Even though it could pass on to another guy, assuming that the other guy is probably not going to be very masculine. So that's part of your masculine identity, guys. Leading is a masculine trait. Leading has been something that men have been doing since nomadic times. Okay? Like, it's a natural thing for us to do. Stop not doing it. Stop letting women, feminists, beta males tell you otherwise. That's why you're not getting the goddamn girl. That's why you keep putting yourself in this situation where it's like, well, how come I can't get this girl to listen to me? Well, how come I can't get this girl to follow my lead? Well, how come this girl has to be argumentative with me? Yeah, I wonder why. Huh, go figure. I can't read between the lines on that. So, just be more in tune with your nature, guys. If it comes down to it, really watch some of our past videos, and we talk about alpha male traits, masculinity traits. The only thing we haven't talked about, which I might bring up, who knows, is dark triad traits. And it's funny because I was reading a little bit on dark triad traits. There was a study I heard, and I forgot to look it up because I was just a little busy.
Yeah.
How women find men who have the dark triad traits to be attractive than the norm. And what are the triads? Psychopathy, okay, narcissism, and Machiavellianism. All right.
The hell's that?
Machiavellianism.
Yeah.
Machiavellianism.
You should explain it to the audience. Yeah.
So Machiavellianism is a little bit more on like the manipulation trait.
Oh.
Like more on manipulation, more on lack of sympathy, a little bit lack of empathy as well. It's just like it's kind of more. If you're a business owner, you develop Machiavellianism because it's more self-interest. You're trying to gain more than you're trying to give. You're speaking more to try to negotiate a little bit. You're building that. In that sense, the Machiavellianism, in my definition, would be, okay, in business, you're building that, but it's to your own good. In this case, however, when it comes to dating, that's why it's called dark, right? Because there's a manipulation factor that goes along with it. And that could lead to a lot of things, a multitude of things, as a matter of fact. It could lead to men lying about their status, men lying that they're going to give a commitment or a future to women. It could be many, many things. The psychopathy could just be, there could be a little bit of craziness with this person, but to the point where it leads to a little bit of excitement in the woman's eyes. And the narcissism, men will build narcissism, okay? Men will build narcissism in most cases because they built up a status to it. Women are more narcissistic. Why are women more narcissistic? Well, now I'm going to go off a little bit of a tangent here. Okay. So ladies, okay, and gentlemen, this is going to be a little off topic, but we'll go on this anyway. I hate, but I also like. I like when we get into topics of discussion when it comes to narcissism. Now, here's the thing with men being narcissistic, as I mentioned before. Men are constantly challenged. Men are constantly punished for mediocrity. Men are constantly put down if we do something that isn't favorable to society. So it's near impossible for us to be narcissistic be so high in our pride, so high in our ego, lacking empathy, not care about about other people's self-worth or their well-being, when we're constantly being humbled over and over again. So when people say, it's both men and women, when they start saying these type of things like, oh well, men are narcissistic, blah blah blah, it's like, okay, but how? You know what I mean? If you're talking to a super high value man, they're going to have high levels of narcissism most of the time. Just like how they're higher in value, just like how there's a higher rate of them not being monogamous to you, they built it because they dealt with a lot of people. They dealt with many people who've challenged them. They're going to be narcissistic. They're going to care less about what other people think, especially if they haven't gone through the trial and errors and the walk of life that they've gone, the same journey, basically. They can't relate. So in their minds, if we're talking more psychology, us men, when we've reached that level, we can't really be empathetic to people who haven't done our journey. We can't. So we're not going to care what you think about certain opinions, depending on what it is. We're not going to really listen too much on things like that. Many business owners are like that, especially. So that type of narcissism also, I will translate to Machiavellianism. That's how it is. Now, on the other side, right, when it comes to women being narcissistic, they're narcissistic because nobody punishes them for their things. They don't punish them for saying stupid things, being selfish, being promiscuous, being disloyal, fighting with men, disagreeing with them, being combative, being masculine. We're not punishing women for doing that. That's where the narcissism comes in. Because when people aren't punished for certain things, they feel like they're somewhat in a space where they feel like they're very special. They're very privileged. People who are privileged like that, usually it's because no one punishes them for their bad propensities. It's simple as that. I probably feel the same way too. If I'm going around and I'm literally doing whatever the heck I want and I'm not being punished for it, I would probably think and feel a certain way also. And the other thing too, when it comes to the dating as well, and we're kind of coming back slowly now to when it comes to dating, women can, we're going real off topic on this one.
Yeah.
The thing is that if I'm low value, or let's say Chris and I, we're low value, or any guy is low value, we're instantly punished for it. So we can't be narcissistic on that. But the thing is, when women feel like they don't really have to be challenged, they don't have to try, they don't have to really put or have so much on the table, they're going to be more narcissistic. They're going to feel like they're the prize. They're going to feel like they're special and the man has to work for them because no one's challenging them. No one is saying, okay, well, if I'm high value, I'm bringing this to the table, but what are you bringing to the table? No one's asking them that. You're going out with a whole bunch of guys. What's going on with that? No one's questioning them on that. Oh, you're going out to all these yachts, meeting all these strange individuals. No one's calling them thoughts. No one's calling them whores. They're just saying, yeah, you go, girl. You do whatever you want. If you meet a guy, he decides to feel up on you, go on ahead. Yeah, that's what happens. So no one punishes them. Like, they're not being punished for bad behavior. So when people aren't punished for bad behavior or just anything like that, they feel entitled. They feel very entitled. They feel very privileged. Whereas we not really. We have to build. We have to build more. We have to get punished for it. This is why I also say in even our past podcast, if men go through trauma, we kind of have to go through trauma. And then look how it builds us most of the time. If you see a high value man, for the most part, I will guarantee you that he has gone through trials and tribulations. People have fought him. He had to go through all this pain and suffering and go through sacrifices to get to where he is. You can bet that he is going to build some Machiavellianism and some narcissism because he's earned his way to get to that point. Women, on the other hand, in most cases, especially modern women nowadays, when they're super entitled, super privileged, there's no reason, at least purely, there's no reason to be narcissistic and Machiavellianistic. They're mostly narcissistic in that sense. But that's the little tangent we kind of went off on that one. I said I wanted to make this one. I wanted to bring some topics up and such. So back to being decisive and things like that. So guys, like, be decisive. Be very cookie cutter with what you're saying. Stop trying to be friends with them. All right, just get straight to the point on that one. You want to add anything else to that?
No, just that I think I know why you made this episode, but go ahead.
Well, let's talk about. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it's okay.
Do you want
Yeah,
to kind of talk about it afterwards then?
yeah.
Like maybe closing points. Good.
Sure.
Now let's see here. So that's point number 1 here. There were a bunch more that were just added onto that one. Right. Now let's see here. Planning your logistics around, and I've mentioned this before, where you have to just plan your logistics. The number one thing I think I would say before you're planning logistics, before this, as a man, understand, and I subtly brought this up already in this episode. Understand, as the man, you have a lot to bring to the table. Understand that. I know there are going to be some people, and you might have some friends who they might kid around with you, or maybe there might be some jealous people in your life who are like, oh, you can't give this person this. What are you good for? Things like that. Like, get out of your head on that one. Understand, just as a whole, in just generalities, right? As a man, you have a lot to offer. What do you have to offer by default? You have protection. Okay, you can give a woman protection. You can be chivalrous to them. You can you can teach them many things. You can teach them hierarchies. You can help them understand authority. Okay, you have masculine values. The masculine energy, believe it or not, that alone itself, if women feel it from you, feminine energy and masculine energy are our superpowers. They really are. But the thing with this one is, in order for women to really feel like they're in their feminine, they have to feel that you are in your masculine. And the problem with this also is, if women are not by nature in their feminine, they're really masculine. Unfortunately for the guy who's, I guess, trying to see if they can pull something off with this one, you have to now increase your masculinity with this woman to knock her off her masculine role. And that's already going to be a big challenge. I highly suggest, if the woman's already masculine by default and you feel this, I don't need a man kind of energy, or you just think that she's a feminist, avoid her. Just avoid her, man. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. Use your masculine energy on someone who wants to feel it. It's that simple, that they want that masculine energy. Keep them in their feminine, okay? Because that's what's you're going to get their best. When women are truly in their feminine, you're going to get their best. They're going to give more. And quite frankly, I'll even hop on this small little point. If a woman is willing to give you intimacy, you're going to get her best. You're just going to. Versus a woman who's withholding section, you're not going to get her best. You're just not. You're absolutely not. I was going to mention that at a later point, but the fact of the matter is, like, you know what? Let's talk about this. Oh yeah, let's talk about this. So, we've only spoken about what are factors for a woman who's a thought or a whore.
Factors?
Yeah. You want to throw some pieces in here?
I mean, this high body count, dude. They sleep around, whatever, you know?
Yes. So here's what I want to bring up. Because the thing is that when we tell women, or when we're telling men or beta males, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And we tell them, okay, here's the thing. We don't want a woman who sleeps around. We don't want a woman with a high body count. Yes, that is. That couldn't be any further from the truth, okay? It's 100% true, especially if men are serious about their vetting process. That's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Purity. I can't stress that enough. Purity.
Pretty much.
But then we're also saying, well, if you meet this guy, if you feel like you want to have intimacy with him, women know that if they're going to have intimacy with a guy right off rip or not. You know, there's no interview with that. It's going to happen. So then what happens is that they get confused. Men and women get confused. Like, okay, but you're telling them to not have a high body count, not be promiscuous, but yet you're saying give sex to them almost immediately.
Yeah.
Right? So let's clear that up. Let's clear this up. So number one, if a woman is going around giving herself up, first of all, to a whole bunch of other guys, then yes, that's a behavior. That's a promiscuous thought, whore-like behavior. We understand that. But if a woman feels a certain way about a guy, not a bunch of guys, okay? So let's just say she's entertaining. She's entertaining 20 guys, but she's not actually having sex with them. She's just getting booty calls and let's just say that. Okay, she's young and guys are coming up to her and she's kind of just taking advantage of these guys. Okay, let's just make a little hypothetical situation. But then she happens to meet this one guy, and this guy just happens to check off a plethora of her boxes. Just happens to. Now, the fact that this man, assuming he's masculine, and assuming now that he's filling up all the boxes, and she says, you know what? Damn, oh my God, I feel good. Like, I feel really, really good with this guy. Like, if I'm close by his house, I'm ready to go. That does not make her a whore. Let's be very clear about that. That does not make her a thought. It does not give her this promiscuous type of vibe or energy. It doesn't give her that. I want to be very clear with that. So if she happens to find the guy, that's a different story. But if she finds a guy and a bunch of other guys, she's giving herself up to these guys, then that's a different story. I can understand that. So if she gives herself up to this one guy, and of course the guy's masculine and says, hey, you gotta cut off all these orbiters, she's giving up thought-like behaviors, okay? That's a green flag, all right? But there's more to it than that. It's not just, oh, would you look at that? I happen to find this one guy who I want to give myself up to. Okay, fine. That's one piece of the puzzle. Great, great. She's only being a freak with you. Just you, and you only. But then other things play into that. It's behaviorism, okay? So even if she's still a virgin, let's say she's still a virgin, and she happens to go on Instagram, Facebook, like we talked about before, she's posting provocative photos, half-naked pictures, she's getting hit up by all these guys, she's thirst-trapping all of them. That's a thought/whore-like behavior. That's a trait. Another one, where she goes clubbing too much. Same thing, because she's trying to get attention and validation from a whole bunch of guys. She's trying to see who she can extract value from, especially if the guy's high value, they have their own tables, and there's a whole bunch of girls. Hence, you know, the thing I said about the safety in numbers thing. So now it's like, oh, well, girls are coming after this guy. Let me see what value I can possibly extract. These other girls are probably extracting value from these guys anyway, but I like to be in the bunch. I like to be in the whole bunch on that one. That's another one. She's putting herself in other precarious situations, as in she's going to yachts. She doesn't know who any of those people are, nor does she know in close the people who she knows. You know, she doesn't know any of those people. So she's meeting weird people, strange guys who obviously just want to have their way, travels all the time with different guys, especially. So you get the point. You get the point. And drinks a lot and does drugs and gets a little wild, things like that. But you guys get the point, or the points, okay? You have to combine the fact that she's willing to find a guy, or just fooling around because she's bought into the bag of goods of feminism, and she has all these other behavior patterns. That is what will determine if she's like that, okay? So I do want to make that very, very clear. So she's not a whore or a thought or anything. If she happens to find a guy who she really likes, first date, second date, she gives herself up to that. That doesn't make her that, okay? Because I've had this discussion with people. I have, where it's like, okay, but what? So do you think I should follow Steve Harvey's 3-month thing? It's like, why?
3 months.
Yeah, there's like a 3-month thing. I think he has a book on that where you wait for 3 months before you do intimacy, because
Oh my God.
something like that. Like, no one is waiting 3 months, man.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing that. And here's the thing, also, like, but here's my gripe with that, right? We can make up, you and I, even us as the Unplugging, as a whole brand of podcasts, we can make up many different philosophies. We can do that. But the one thing we both have to collectively sit on together and discuss is, okay, we just created a philosophy, but how practical is this? The practicality matters. Just like all these studies that we pulled up, whether it's relationships, politics, health, fitness, like, you have to understand the practicality of it. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because when we're talking about that book, the Steve Harvey book, it's like, bro, listen, like, you might find that little hay in the needle sack that will do it. You know what I mean? But then look at the grand scheme of things. Look at the population. No one's doing that.
Nobody's doing it.
Nobody. And the other thing I wanted to bring up also is that psychology, right? So that we have, how many studies we have on just psychology, on just so many things, right?
Yeah.
We have so many things when it comes to psychology. And the one thing, and I'll bring up Jordan Peterson's kind of one of them, actually. But when we're talking about just psychology in general, there's a reason why it's so popular and dominated by women. All right, because they like that stuff. They're interested. They're interested in how the brain thing, how people's brains work, and how people behave in certain scenarios. But here's the thing: what I've come to realize, when if it's male or female, when they're getting into certain majors like that, psychology, what I've come to realize, and I've talked to some psychologists as well, what a lot of psychologists, mainly females too, is I have no shadow of the doubt that they understand literature when it comes to psychology, that like the studies that have been done.
Yeah.
But here's the problem with that. The problem is they don't want to be practical about it. So what do I mean by that? So if we understand, right, if like all of our studies that we pull up, and it's more on evolutionary psychology stuff,
Right.
but you can still put it onto psychology because a lot of it's evolutionary psychology, right?
Yeah.
Psychology's in it.
Psychology.
Yes. So if we're pulling up a study and then we pulled up that one study where it's how women want it all, women look for formidability, men want women with no body count. Like
Yeah.
when we look into that stuff, we apply it to practicalness. We say, look, like if we understand that, look at all the cultures, many cultures, and even the United States. Like, if men are very serious about the vetting process, if they're high value, it's practical there because they can negotiate that. But if we're talking about beta males, they can't negotiate if a woman's body count is high or low. They just have to take what they can. So when we're dealing with psychologists, especially like when it comes to the triad or the dark nature of females, like female nature, right? There's a darkness to it. There really is. Meaning, what they'll read in studies is like, yeah, their studies will say, yeah, we do like men who are, they're high value, but what they'll hide is the dark triad. They'll hide saying, well, I want a man I'm more attracted to men who are a bit narcissistic. I'm a bit attracted to men who have Machiavellianism, or, they're a little crazy, but they're exciting. They don't want to say that. That's overlooked in a lot of these studies, as a matter of fact. It'll say on there, but they'll interpret it in their own way and say, well, let me not think about Machiavellianism. Let me not think of the dark triad. I just want a guy who's nice. It's like, okay, but that's not what the study says. Like, you're trying to deviate away from studies. You're trying to deviate away from the results, the practicalness. And same thing with guys. It's the same exact thing. So whenever we have guys who just kind of hide some science or statistics and say, well, look, men, we want volume of women. But then they'll say, well, it's not really that. It's just if men are somewhat high value, we feel in our brains or in our minds or whatever, our hearts, that we can get a bunch of women, but we don't really think that. That's not true. That's not true at all. Like, it's been that way since nomadic times, since kings, emperors, pharaohs, conquerors. It's always been like that. You know what I mean? So we psychologists tend to hide data a little bit, at least the results, and they interpret it in a certain way where they don't want the public to kind of see a certain thing. That's my gripe with it. At least with what we do with the studies, we tend to be very realistic about it and say that this is why it works because of A, B, C, and D. Right? So that's why, like, you'll never hear a woman come up to you and say, I want a narcissist. I want someone who lacks sympathy and things like that.
Right.
Because they know when it comes to high value men, like, they don't show that.
Yeah.
They don't really show that. So kind of going off that little tangent there and such. So let me see here. So that was an interesting point. So you gotta understand, guys. Again, coming back to the understanding that you have a lot to offer. Okay, you do have a lot to offer. Just understand that. But when it comes to what women want to offer, don't question them on that. Okay, obviously, if a girl comes up to you and she's playing this little game with you where she thinks, okay, well, what can you give me? Instead of this is what women need to start thinking, and this is my opinion. I think what women need to start doing, this is kind of why they fail in the market most of the time, especially modern dating, is they have this
a bad mentality. Like,
they have this main character syndrome where they think the world revolves around them. And okay, well, it's a privilege for you to be with me. Instead, women need to start thinking, especially if these guys are good guys and they're high value, you need to start thinking, okay, how can I be beneficial to him? How can I be complimentary towards him? How can I keep him, basically? How can I keep him? You ladies, you have to start. I'm gonna look at this camera. I never look at this camera.
Okay.
Ladies, you have to stop thinking to yourselves when you're on dates, oh, he's the privileged one. You have to stop saying that. Stop saying that to yourselves.
They think they're the prize.
Yes, and I don't know how many times we've broken this down already.
No.
The truth is, you're not.
Mm.
And I'm gonna go a little further with this. Here's the thing, like, the thing about this also is women are not scarce. Beautiful women are not scarce. And I'm not trying to sound like a douchebag here. I'm really not. It's just women, ladies, you have to be more realistic about these things. Ask yourselves, really quick, like sit down with yourselves. And I don't know, if you're with friends, like play a game with yourselves. Play a game. And just be like, okay, so let's show hands. Or let's play a game where it's like, okay, I'll say something. If I bring value to this man's life, or if I think I'm valuable in this sense, I'll say it, and then you guys can say if you bring this value or not. So a woman comes up and she's with her girl, say, okay, well, I can cook and clean. And then everyone can say, okay, I do the same thing, I cook and clean. Okay, well, I'm funny. And then the other girls can say, oh, okay, well, I'm funny too. Play that little game with yourselves. Play that little game with yourselves, and you'd be surprised. Maybe not surprised, you might be a little upset with the results. But you're going to realize a lot of things modern women do, you guys are not too different from each other. A lot of you guys offer relatively the same things as the other girl next to you. I know it sounds crass, but it is what it is. Like, how many girls, Chris, how many girls come up to you and say, oh, well, you know, I can be good company.
If I ask the question, I'm pretty sure I'll get the same answer from like everybody, and they won't even know. They're like, oh yeah, well, maybe someone will say I can cook or something, but like, I don't know, you know.
Yeah, and on top of that, it's like a lot of these traits can be replaced.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they can be replaced. Like ladies, listen, if a girl comes up to me and says, oh, I can cook,
you can hire a maid, or a cook, or a chef.
Or
somebody to clean.
Or I can cook myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
you can hire somebody to clean. You can hire all that shit.
These aren't now back to the it's they're not real tangible traits. You know what I mean? It's like what's tangible, and we've mentioned this before, and this is for you gentlemen once again. Like, if women, here's what it is, right? Fertility, beauty, the ability for women to respect male authority, for women to be complimentary towards their life, not be promiscuous, fertility. That's what helps bring value to the woman, okay? If she lacks these things, it's very hard for women to manage in the market. It really, really is, okay? It really, really is. But understanding that, it's just understanding that, okay? Very good. You want to add anything to that, Chris?
No, I mean, no.
Nice. Now, I don't have to go into like the smaller details. I really don't want to waste time with like the smaller details. Don't dress super casually, guys. Okay, dress well, groom yourselves, smell good,
wear pants,
wear clothes that fit.
Yeah,
wear clothes that freaking fit. Stop wearing like super duper baggy clothes. Like, I understand there are going to be guys who they're not going to be like the best shape, so they can't really wear clothes that make them look very appealing. I get that,
right?
Which is another incentive to go to the gym, guys. Come on. So, but again, guys, like dress nice. Just dress nice. Okay, don't dress like a bum. Don't show her that you take care of yourself, man. Like like the shaving, like look good with the shave. Like if it comes down to it as well, what I see celebrities do, even some other guys who, you know, they're somewhat high value or they have things going for them. You want to know what they do? They steal certain styles of hair from celebrities. They do. Like, if you see like a celebrity lookalike, or you feel like you relate to an athlete or a celebrity, and you see that they have like a certain style of beard or facial hair or the hair, like copy it a little bit and see if you rock with it. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with doing that. Like, look good, guys. I'm not saying you have to look like perfect or anything. Just don't look like a bum.
And smell good too.
Smell good. Smell good. Don't smell good, guys. Like, it's we've had a study also where smell is actually a very, very big deal. You want to know how easy it is to turn on girls? You want to know how super duper simple it is for women to disqualify you? Just smell bad. Or smell, even if you don't smell bad, like have this,
like poor hygiene.
Yeah, like a poor hygienic smell, or you just have this smell that if you sweat, like there's some people they have this odor when they sweat. Some of them, not all of them, and it doesn't smell good. Like it really, really doesn't smell good. Like don't smell obviously like you're sweating and things like that. Oh, that's another thing too, right? There are guys who they'll get nervous on a date. They get anxious, and their sweat glands start to open up, and then bam, they start sweating, and then they leave this odor, this smell. I've been on dates like that where I'll go on like a double date or with some friends, and we're having like a little gather up, and I can smell from across the room.
Jeez.
And it's just like, bro, that I know what that smell is. It's that smell that someone is profusely sweating. I know that smell, man. I know that smell. It's like, be careful with that, guys. Be a little careful with that. Chris is totally, he's totally right about that one. All right, very, very good. Let's see here. So the other thing I wanted to talk about here is, here's a pretty big one actually. Here's what I think is what's really gonna destroy you guys on the spot and even in the future or halfway through. Who knows? Gentlemen, stop showing so much interest. If that is your Achilles heel, when men show way too much interest, way too much. Like, the interest has to be there. Okay, there has to be a level, a finite of an interest. Obviously, you're showing interest when you go up to the girl and then you want to ask her out and you have intent of not being a friend. You want to take her out because you're trying to, get somewhere with her. Okay? That's fine. Now, what I mean by that is if you're going... I want to make this kind of funny here. So you're going out with a girl, okay? And you feel that you can start escalating certain things, like moves. Like you're trying to build sexual tension. Like I mentioned in like some videos ago, that the goal for the man is to build sexual tension. So you're with a girl. Here's the girl right here.
Venom.
Yeah. She Venom. Oh, yeah, she was called She Venom, right? So I can't wait for the Venom movie. We'll see. So you're going out with this girl, right? And then the thing is that it is your job to set the tone of the date, okay? You still have to lead. You still have to guide. You still have to give direction. You still have to look clean, be tall, be charismatic. Don't be too chivalrous, okay? Don't get too much of that. And you have to give off confident energy that you're leading, okay? Show masculine energy. Masculine energy when you're on a date is not you, and then the first thing you do is that you're going up to her and you're trying to give her a kiss on cheek, whatever, and you're giving her like this stare. Like this freaking stare. Like if you're going up to her and then you're greeting yourself to her, and then you have this look, this distinctive look where you're just looking at her and you're just like, like it's this goo goo gaga look that you have. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that because Jesus Christ, I'm gonna say it, whatever. Women don't like men who like them more.
Yeah. Like
it's the woman that has to like the guy more. If they sense even a little bit with this little subtlety, oh man, she is so goddamn gorgeous. You know what I mean? Like it's too much. It's an instant indicator that you like her too much.
You're low value.
You're too infatuated with her, and you're killing off whatever little chance or whatever little energy that she might have sparked with you when you first asked her out. Like that masculine approach that you showed her with your chest out, and you looked confident, you looked smooth, you set the tone, you told her that you're interested in her. You're not trying to be a friend. All that dissipates. All that dissipates the moment you start showing too much interest. So that's just one. That's one. This also goes if you're holding her hand too much. This is dating, and this is even after the golden question comes up where she's like, oh, I want a relationship with you. It's the same thing. Gentlemen, you cannot show too much interest, okay? Don't stare at her with this look for too long, okay? It's okay to look away a little bit. It's okay to do that, okay? But for a split second or for like a second, you know what I mean? Like, don't, just as long as you don't give her this look like,
too much eye contact.
like this, like, or like, I know it probably looks a little creepy how I'm doing it, but it's like you're giving her this distinctive look where it's making her think that or feel that you like her more than she likes you. That hand thing's the whole thing. Same thing with putting your arm around her so much. Don't do that so much. Maybe do it like subtly for a little bit. Hand holding, the same exact thing. Don't try to reach for her too much. Don't reach for her hand so much. You can walk beside her. Walk beside her. Walk in front. Okay. That is a... I'm going to say this right now, and I know some women are not going to like what I say here, but it's like, when you're walking with a woman, walk slightly in front of her. Walk slightly in front of her. It shows, again, leadership. It shows dominance, all right? And women are not going to say jack crap about it. They're going to be like, why are you walking further than me? They're not going to say some dumb nonsense like that. They're not going to. Especially if they're in their feminine, they feel like you're in the masculine, they don't mind. They're going to like it. They're going to entertain it. They're going to feel good about it. Like, wow, like, I feel good around this guy. You know what I mean? They're not going to disqualify you for that. They're not going to. So, as I mentioned before, the whole colors of the rainbow, a hint of everything, guys. All right? Just a hint of everything. When you do something too often, too much, for too long, women will disqualify you for it. Okay? And just, as I mentioned before, like, speak to them, but let them speak more. Let them be singing canaries. Obviously, they expect you to have conversations. They expect you to bring up topics of conversations, but women love to listen. Not listen. They want to be listened to. They want to be heard. They always want that.
Yeah.
And then here's the thing, like,
they love talking about themselves.
They do. When women go up and talk to people about their problems, they want people to listen to them. They don't want people cutting them off or trying to be like super duper empathetic by telling them their stories. No, they just want to be heard.
Right.
They just want to be heard. All right. So just keep that in mind. Keep that purely in mind there.
And plus, it helps you like stay a little mysterious as well. You know.
Absolutely. Like you
let them do all the talking.
Yeah, let them do all the talking. And even when you're in the car with them, you pick them up and such. Don't reach for their hand. Don't try to stop the car on purpose to try to look at her. Don't try to play super duper romantic music. Don't try to do that because it just makes you look like a tryhard. Makes you look like sweaty. All right. Be confident with your own content, guys. Like if you like listening to rap music or rock music or things like that, be very confident with what you watch, with what you listen to, because here's another thing. I just kind of brought that up abruptly. When you guys are even going in the car or anything like that, if you're walking with her, women will always do this, the competency tests. Okay, they'll try to kind of like jab at you a little bit with certain things. It might be playful jabs, but it might be somewhat like underhand jabs as well. Okay, Hold your ground. If you're one of those people who gets easily offended, or you get triggered, or you don't like when people talk about your shirt or your shoes or anything like that, you gotta divorce those feelings. Divorce them entirely. Because the moment women feel like they can get a jab at you, they will lose respect for you. They won't take you serious as a leader. They won't do that. Like if a girl comes up to me and she's like, "Wow, look at this shirt. That's kind of too green," and I'll be like, "I love this green, to be honest with you. I think this green is awesome." You say something kind of like that. It's a very small competency test. But had I been like, "What's wrong with this shirt?" You know how terrible that looks? That looks terrible. You just failed the competency test. And a very, very easy one. At that. You're failing super duper simple tests. Women are going to do that all the time. Why do they do that? I explained it before. Because they want to build a level of security with you. They want to be sure that you are the guy, not a guy. That's why they do all these competency tests. And they do it even after you become official boyfriend and girlfriend. Even after you become married or engaged. And even when you have kids. They're constantly doing this. It is a natural thing. Now, granted though, the more you progress in the relationship, the tests start to drop. They start to drop a little bit. They won't happen as often. It won't be as common. But the moment the woman feels like she can have her way on certain things and push you around, oh, they're coming right back up again. Believe me, they're coming right back up. And it's not fun for you guys. It's just not fun. Competency tests are fine to a level, to a degree. But if it happens way too often, all too many times, guys, I'm just going to say, sir, you're doing something wrong. Or you're doing some things wrong that she's shoving way too many tests down your throat. Too many. There's too many happening. Too much. So let me see here. So yes, don't show such high interest, guys. Like whether it's the holding hands, putting your arm around her, staring at her to a certain degree. Even space yourself. Space yourself a little bit. Like put your arm out. Put both arms out if you need to. That is the space. And maybe one step back. Give her space. Don't get too close to her. Be within like a good distance from her, even if you guys are kind of walking like side by side. Don't get to the point where it's like you're constantly close to her all the time. Give her a little space, just a bit, okay? And like I said, hold her hand every now and then. You could try to, put your arm around her, but if you're constantly doing it over and over and over and over again, she's gonna say, "Oh yeah, he really likes me. I got him. Now I can twirl my finger around this guy a little bit," and then she's going to be less feminine with you. Let's just put it that way. She's going to be less feminine.
Yeah.
You messed up on that one. You know I messed up this time, So that's number 3. That's number 3 here. Right. Now, that was also going to be point number 4 here. Now I want to get into certain locations now. I think a common thing I see sometimes is the gym. How to approach women in the gym. Oh yeah. So
that's a tough one.
That is a tough one. That's a very, very tough one. So guys, listen. The thing with the gym is
you live there, so you should know.
Yeah. Here's the thing with the gym, guys. All right. There are very easy cues, I think, when it comes to the gym. Okay. Whether you're kind of the big shot there, whether you're new, whether you're somewhat of a veteran, you're just there doing your thing. The same principles kind of apply here. If a woman thinks you're attractive, thinks you're physically, in this case now physically attractive because, she goes there, she sees like all these big dudes and things like that. It's the same thing. Those little nuances that kick in, if a girl sees you lifting or, again, she's turned this way. We can look at the camera here. Like I'm here. And if I look at a girl and her body is turned my direction, okay, or if she's far away and she's getting closer to me, she's getting kind of close, like you went from going to one side of the whole entire gym, you're still turning your body towards me, you're moving around more, you're moving around my direction. You could go that way. You don't have to come this direction. But you're coming my direction most of the time. So to me, it's like, okay, I see her body is pointing towards me most of the time. It might not even be like directly towards me, but it could be maybe a little bit this way, or maybe like a little bit here. Like there's going to be some asymmetry there. Like the angle is going to be a little asymmetrical. It won't be super congruent, but even if it's just like 30 degrees from your direction, then it's okay. It's totally fine. So just those little nuances there. And if she comes up to you, oh, you know what's funny too? The smell of the ovulation. Oh my goodness. Don't be a creep about this, guys. Like, you know what? Let me not mention that. Because I don't want to develop creeps here. So imagine the girl passes like, yeah, boy, we got an ovulator here. Jackpot. Let's not do that.
Okay.
So yes, and she comes your way, and you see her kind of passing back and forth over and over again, your direction. And you wonder, you could have gone this way. You could have gone that way. But instead, you're constantly coming my direction. The other thing, too, if you guys want to somewhat test this woman out a little bit,
what do you do?
Do a workout somewhat next to her. Not too close to her, but just kind of next to her. if you feel that there's something there, like because of the behaviors, it's always behavior, okay? Never listen. I've said this before. Never listen to women when it comes to what they say or what they think with how they move and how they behave. Men are sold behavior, not words. I'm going to say that one more time. Men are sold behavior patterns, not words from women. All right? So the behaviorism is going to play a very, very big factor here. Okay? So, and then if she happens to, you're there, you're next to her. Not too close to her, but you're in her line of sight. Plan this move a little bit. Like if you're gonna work out next to her, you want to kind of test the waters out to see like what the tension is. Work out where she's kind of looking directly at you almost. Okay, do that. You do that, and whether it's dumbbells or benching, whatever it is, and then you'd be surprised. You would be surprised that if you're within her visual distance and she can probably say something to you, you'd be surprised. There are girls who will say something. That's happened to me a few times, actually.
Yeah.
Where I'll just receive little compliments. I'll just receive little compliments where it's like, oh, that's an interesting workout. Oh, that sure looks nice. They'll say something. Or more recent, you know that I had like a haircut. Like that haircut looks really good on you. And to me, it's like, so you just noticed that I had a haircut, so you have been noticing me around here.
Ooh.
You know, so she just kind of gave herself up there.
That's when you're like, creep.
Like, yeah,
You creep.
So
Get away from me.
So little subtleties like that, guys. Okay, like test the waters out a little bit. She's not going to think you're a creep now. But here's what I will say. We'll switch it around a little bit. On the same token, you guys have to be careful, okay? Because like I said, like the gym,
Isn't there like a thing going on where like women are like recording all these like gym creeps and shit like that and blasting them on?
I was going to mention that actually.
Go ahead.
You guys got. Do you want to add something to that actually?
No, I mean like I'm not too big on the gym world, so you probably know better than I do when it comes to that stuff.
Well, one of your.
I mean, I just saw like it was like a big like social media thing where like a lot of guys are being recorded and staring at women and stuff like that and putting them on blast and shit like that.
It's incredible, to be honest with you. It's just
I think it's kind of dying down, but
a bit.
Yeah.
And the thing is too, like, it's funny because I saw a video earlier today of this woman. She was like kind of tatted up. She was in shape, but she was like all tatted up.
Yeah.
She recorded herself talking to some unknown bystander, some person at the gym. And she was like kind of fighting with him a little bit. Like, oh, I don't feel comfortable with you looking at me. I didn't like what you said about this and that. I don't like you being so close to me or something like that. It's like Jesus Christ, what's going on? You know what I mean? So guys, you gotta be a little careful with that. Okay. Like if you see an attractive woman, that's one thing. All right. Whether she's an 8, 9, 10, whatever the number is, it doesn't matter. Like, you guys gotta be a little careful with this, especially in a gym setting, because as Chris mentioned, he's seen this, and quite frankly, so have I.
They're doing it for views, man. They're doing it for fucking attention and shit.
We're talking about girls who they're probably not even that much into fitness. They're just getting outfits that are really, really tight, gym outfits that look kind of skimpy, very revealing, posing, and when they put their cameras on the mirror so they can kind of record themselves, they can always look through the phone or the camera and see who's kind of watching them. Which I think that's creepy. It's not creepy that the guy just happens to look at them, but it's creepy that the woman is trying to see who's watching her like that. You know what I mean? It's like, look, if you're a beautiful woman, guess what, honey?
You're gonna get looked at.
Guys are gonna look at you.
Oh.
Like, what? What is it? I can understand too. It's like if there's a guy, and this is what I was talking about when you're these guys, these points that we're bringing up. This is all assuming that the girl likes you, that the girl thinks that you're attractive enough, that she thinks you qualify to take her out somewhere, things like that. That's assuming that she likes you.
Yeah.
But this type of behavior that comes from women when they're very aggressive and they start attacking men and put them on blast and things like that. They try to victimize themselves and be like, oh, I'm a victim of a creepy guy staring at me and things like that. And they pathologize men for staring at them. No. This is assuming that the guy who was caught staring at her, she's not attracted to. Again, like women you have to pay attention to their behaviors, guys. So what I mean by this also, guys, like even if you're an attractive guy, you're a self-proclaimed attractive guy, okay? That's fine. Careful with how you look at her. I'm dead serious. Be very careful with how you look at her. Because there are girls out there, and and this is me too, like when I'm there, and there are beautiful women all over, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I will do my best. Of course, every guy does their best, because they see a beautiful woman, it's like, oh, okay, let me show some restraint here, you know what I mean?
Right.
Let me show some temperance. So I see a girl, and I say, oh, wow, she's pretty attractive. And I tell myself, oh, yeah, she's a pretty attractive woman. And then I move on with my workout. If she happens to catch me looking at her,
Yeah.
it can go one of some ways.
Yeah.
Okay, one of some ways. One, she gives me a look back and, might smirk at me a little bit. Be like, oh, Two, she just looks away. And be like, oh, whatever. Three, she might reciprocate it badly, where she kind of gives you a bad stare. Or not even like a super bad stare, like an angry, like, got at the boto stare. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more just like, it's just not a great stare. Like, I kind of expected that. You know what I mean? Like, she probably grins a little bit. You know what I mean? She has like a big face, whatever. Or the worst one, she comes up to you and is a little violent with you on you staring at her. And that's the worst one. That's kind of what we were talking about with the girl, like videotaping her stuff and all that nonsense, the quackery.
Yeah.
But also, like, when you guys are staring at her, guys, I pray to you guys, if you stare at her, and if she catches you staring at her, it best be with her eyes, not anything else. Not with her, her behind, her chest, or anything like that. Girls will see that. And if you're interested in her, or even if she has like a little bit of interest in you, the fact that she caught you not really looking at her, and you know what I mean by her face and her eyes, it does unfortunately disqualify you a little bit. Not entirely, but just a little bit. But it also depends on her attraction level for you. If she thinks you're a good-looking guy, whatever, then she won't be that harsh with you.
No.
She won't be so harsh. She'll be like, well, yeah, I've got big breasts, I've got a big butt, things like that. But this is the attitude I think women need to have in general. It's like, if guys are going to look at you, if you're beautiful, guys are going to look at you. I can understand if there's like an older individual, like a kind of an old guy, whatever, and if he is very creepy with you, like tries to talk to you or says something inappropriate with you, then I can understand that you're getting a certain way with them. You're getting angry, you're feeling kind of violated, you're feeling uncomfortable. That I can understand. That I can understand for sure. But same exact thing. If you establish that contact with her, right? You establish that you did the whole, like, kind of sniff test with her almost, where you're testing the waters out with her and she engages with you. Okay, fine, good, perfect. Now it's a little playful here. Now you've developed some sort of interaction with her. You kind of joked around with her a little bit. She said that she likes your hair, or she likes your shirt. Be cool with it. Don't try to be super duper funny with it. You can use that to start a small and short and precise conversation with her. This is the same thing. Don't try to prioritize her. Don't try to show so much interest. It's the same exact thing. Once you establish something with her because she engaged with you in some way, because you did this little test, whatever it might be, okay, small little conversation. If it's a shirt, it's like, oh yeah, I do a little Brazilian jiu-jitsu here and there. And one of my mentors kind of gave me that. And then she's, oh, you do BJJ, things like that? Okay, that's cool. Start that little tiny conversation. But then time yourself. I'm not saying look at your watch every 30 seconds. Don't do that. Don't time yourself like that. And it's going to look bad if she sees you constantly looking at your watch like, okay, like I should go. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't look good. It just kind of makes it seem like, oh, so you don't enjoy my company, you don't enjoy my conversation, things like that. Don't give her that impression, guys. Okay, they're going to internalize it. Just have a short conversation, very quick, and then to finish it off, just say, oh, well, look, it's nice talking to you. Maybe we can work out here one of these days sometimes, things like that. Like a gym day, like a small, short little gym day. Okay, done. That's it. You're good to go from there. And then the same thing like how it is with actual days that you go outside of the gym, it's the same exact thing. You're going on this little tiny gym day, whatever. You're getting to know her a little bit. Even when you guys aren't working out, don't look at her too much. Don't get too close to her. Don't try to play this little funny game that you're like, oh, fancy meeting you here. oh wow, I was using this machine, things like that. Don't prioritize her too much, okay? When you go up to her one of these days and say, hey, look, let's get a workout tomorrow, and then you see from there and you go from there, and then when it's finally time to ask her out on a date, an actual date outside, it'll all play out, guys. It'll all play out. You guys just have to be a little bit more careful when it comes to the gym setting, okay? Yeah. Just a little bit more careful with the gym setting. Space yourself. Don't spend too much time talking to them. Don't show too much interest, okay? Because the thing is, you're already there with her. Understand, gentlemen, and women too, like, mostly gentlemen, you're already there with her. She already knows that there's a level of interest there. You don't have to keep pushing the bar. You don't have to keep pushing the threshold. Like, you don't have to do that. So, less is more. It's one of those things where less is more, guys, all right? Less is definitely more. And this also goes the same thing with dance classes and yoga or whatever it is. Like, you gotta feel the room out a little bit. Just do your best. And then at the same time, just self-growth is always a thing. Like, keep self-improving so that way you have better chances. All right, guys? So keep that in mind. Yeah, we got time. Okay, we're pretty decent. We're kind of almost done here, actually. Very good, very good. So the other thing here is we're gonna change things up a little bit here again. Oh yeah, I said it's gonna be fun. No, we covered quite a bit here, actually.
We did.
Oh my goodness. The next thing I want to talk about here is setting up dating profiles on dating apps.
Oh boy.
Oh, you weren't expecting that. You weren't expecting that. So a little background of me, okay? I've only used, oh god, what was it? Tinder. I used Tinder.
That's considered the hookup app now, I think.
It's a hookup app?
Yeah.
I kid you not, I've only used it for like an hour.
I used it for like 2 days, I think, and I had to.
2 days?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did the whole swiping left and right thing. I paired up with a good amount of people, actually. It was like, oh,
I paired up with a lot of cam girls and people that just want to take your money and shit and other crap. They just spam you with links and stuff like that. It's not worth it, bro. I just fucking uninstalled that crap.
Here's the thing. With the dating apps, it's just when you're on those dating apps and you happen to be the lucky, you're out of the 80% bottom of the barrel of guys.
Yeah.
Right? And we've had a study on that by OkCupid, and even there's a Tinder study is also on that. Women just find a grand majority of men unattractive, 80 to probably 85% if we're correct on that. You know, that's not great. So they're chasing the top 15, 10%, 5% of men. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The thing with that is, what my experience in just that 1 hour, right? It's I pair up and then this is my beta nowadays. Like, hi, how are you? And a lot of them will just be very bare bones with it. They'll just be like, oh, I'm good. How about you? I said, oh, I'm good. I've seen your profile, blah blah blah. I'll try to emerge in a conversation. Then they just don't answer back. There's like 2 or 3 of them. So to me, it's like, okay, this is kind of whack. You know,
that's how it is, though.
Yeah, it is.
The thing is, when they have like unlimited options, their attention span is just gonna be so short, man. You know, they're gonna match again and match again, and oh, you took longer than 2 seconds to reply to me. Let me see who else I can match with. Boop 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 boop. Then they'll find somebody better eventually, and it's just like whatever time you put in, invested, and all that shit, just goes to waste.
You want to know also something else? I'll bring this up actually about the options. As I think I might have brought this up already, but I might reiterate it possibly. It's the thing also with the options. Here's the thing. This is for us men. If we sound incredibly stupid, if we sound incredibly ignorant, we're out of shape, we have nothing going for us, again, the world punishes us, and women aren't going to find us attractive. But is it the same for women? Women can say a whole bunch of ignorant nonsense. They can sound so stupid. They can have nothing going for them. They get no job, not making a lot of money. They can sound totally mediocre. Totally mediocre. They could be feminists. They could be misandrous. Oh, God. They could be misandrous. They could be, on the left. Things like that. But they'll still have options. They'll still have guys throwing themselves on them.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that so crazy?
It's about a bunch of betas and simps, bro. You know?
So this is where female delusion also comes in. It's like, wow.
It pushes their delusion further sometimes.
Yeah. because no one's punishing them for it. Like I mentioned before, I know I said this earlier in the video, but it's like, see, this is why, like, women need to be challenged. Women absolutely need to be challenged. Women have to stop doing this whole thing, and this is the whole feminism thing, where they think it's cute and they think it's sexy for them to defy male authority and to argue with men, especially in front of friends and family. They think it's cute. It's like, yeah, you go, girl. You defy things. I'm like, seriously? And then, of course, the beta males aren't going to punish them for it. So again, they feel entitled.
Yeah.
They feel privileged. They feel like they're so high up on their horse. So this is a problem, guys. This is a very, very big problem. Like, you got to understand, and this is what women don't want to admit. When I say, oh, women are totally privileged, there's so many double standards that favor them. It's like, that's not true. It's like, really? Oh, boy, we're going to have a whole debate about this, and I'm ready for this one. But it's, as far as like with the options go, like Chris, yes, he's absolutely right about that with like the options and things like that. They have they're limitless. They're totally limitless. But for the men, here's for the men, right? If you're gonna make a profile, try. First of all, try. Okay, put some effort. What I found actually, and this is just I've read a few things on how to make like good profiles, and even what some high value men do. First off, get a professional photographer, or if you have a camera yourself that does like high quality stuff. And yes, it's okay to do a little tinkering with the photo. Yes, it is, okay? Because women do it all the time. It's true, they do it all the time.
Yeah.
But for men, try to look somewhat mysterious with your photos. I found that to be somewhat very effective. Like, let's say you're on top of a mountain. Let's say, right? And that looks really cool, first of all, right? You're in this really, really cool setting. Find a place where it looks very appealing. And in the girl's mind, it's like, ooh. Because women like to fantasize.
Yeah.
They like to fantasize about experience. Experience, what their dream man looks like, especially. They do think about, well, okay, this is kind of what my dream man looks like, even though they don't know how they physically to a certain degree. But it's like, these are the traits that my man should have, blah, 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 things like that, right? So women like to fantasize about that stuff. When men know how to give women the ability to fantasize, you have a superpower, my friend, or friends. My friends, you have a superpower. Let women fantasize. Let women dream a little bit, just a bit. Let them think about like, wow, I could possibly do this with this guy. I could do that. We could be this. Like, let them dream a little bit. Let them fantasize, okay? That's a superpower. Let them think about what they could possibly do with you. You know what I mean? That's not bad. That's not bad at all. So you get a picture of yourself from like a mountain. And you can either keep it the way it is, totally original, or you can mess around with the saturation filters. You can mess around with the opacity, things like that. You can change up all those things. And even what you can do is if you have a good body, especially, let's say you have like a decent body, and you add like shadowing to it, you darken the image. So now you have this silhouette, this like muscular silhouette, and your face almost doesn't even show. That's mystery. So let's get this straight. You have an aesthetically pleasing setting. You have a silhouette of a body that looks very appealing and formidable to the woman. It's mysterious, and it gives the woman the power to fantasize about who you possibly are. So there's a lot going on in that picture, in just that one picture. And we're not even on the bios yet. We're not even on the goddamn bios or the questions or whatever it is. You're just on the picture. You're giving the woman this pleasure of fantasizing. Women want to fantasize. Give it to them. Let them fantasize. So you have that. Now, when it comes to the bio, okay, you got to keep it a little simple.
Yeah, I don't put anything, to be honest. I'll put like, oh, I'll do it later or some shit. Yeah.
You got to keep it a little simple. All right? Like something simple could be something straight to the point with kind of how you're putting a dent in the universe. That's what I would do, right?
If you can show off, yeah, a little bit.
Show off a little bit, not too much. Like it had to put like something simple as in like creating businesses year round. Something very, very simple. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be that. I'll give you like a little example. But now that you have this super duper aesthetic photo of yourself, you've tinkered it up, and the woman's going to figure out that you tinkered it out. It's not going to disqualify you. Again, it's mystery, it's excitement, it's real. You're getting into the psychology, right? Let me see here. And now you have this bio that's giving her something to kind of think a little bit more on, like businesses, interests.
Yeah.
What does he do? What does he do for a living? You know what I mean? So it's more mystery, somewhere around there. And then the question thing. I think these apps have questions that they ask,
sometimes
right?
they have prompts and stuff like that. Yeah.
Like if you're about to talk to somebody,
yeah. So like the other person can know a little bit more about you. Yeah. Some questions there.
Okay.
You can select it.
All right. Gotcha. So a simple prompt. You can go about this in a few ways, actually. The prompts are questions in which you can leave on these apps.
Yeah. Answer fair.
Something about like a question that kind of gets into their heads a little bit. Like they have to be like, interesting. An example. A clear example. You could just say something like, okay, looking to vet seriously for a marriage material woman, something around there. Some girls are going to be like, oh, vetting, what does that mean? Marriage material. What is marriage material? Or another one could be looking for a virgin, something very, very straightforward like that. Or looking for a woman who's feminine. Ooh, that's going to hit.
Yeah.
That hits. So when you put prompts like that, and you have all this other stuff that we just talked about, the woman's going to engage with you most likely. She might start off and say, oh, you're looking for a feminine woman, huh? And that's how, they might start off like striking at first, but then that's your chance to just kind of go in and just be like, absolutely. Femininity is a woman's greatest strength, their greatest power, something around there. Now, of course, that can go in one of a billion ways. She might internalize it and think that you're attacking her because she's probably feminist and probably masculine herself. She might be feminine and she's trying to see, okay, what else makes me feminine? Things like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's not bad. That's not bad. That's not wrong, guys. Like, you gotta, this is the challenge. This is how you challenge women on dating apps. Like, you can't make it so plain and simple and it's something that you just get at freaking Babies R Us or maybe so Toys R Us simple. Like, don't do that. Like, challenge women. Women need challenge. They need leaders. They want someone to look up to. They want someone who's going to keep them in their feminine. They want a masculine figure. They want that. But they can't do it if you're not setting the blueprint up for it. It's that simple. That is why the man leads. Right. Because you are setting the blueprint. You create the blueprint and then you're guiding her through that blueprint. So when you're saying these things and all these things that we've said earlier tonight, it all comes together and it makes sense. Now, are you going to bump into women who are going to fall in line? No, not always. But the ones who do, you'll know. You'll definitely know. And then the other thing, too, when it comes to spinning plates, did you have anything you want to add on to that? Like the things we do about like setting up dating
profiles? I would say just copy the same thing that women do because that's what shows what they're interested in, you know? So have a picture of you like traveling, have a picture of you like wearing a nice, clothing, suit or something. Have a picture with you with your friends, so they can see your social and stuff like that. They like stuff like that. A picture of you with your pet, if you have a pet dog or something. It's a shit that women like. I mean, look at a woman's profile because they think that we're attracted to the same shit that they are. And just do it yourself, Just make a male version of it.
Yeah.
Basically. Let me see. Anything else I can think of? But yeah, just keep it mysterious. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep it mysterious. And there's something else I kind of want to bring up with the dating apps as well, guys.
It's not a good way to find a woman, but go ahead.
It's not. It's really not. Honestly, I mean, if you're just trying to spin plates, there's one point I do want to bring up about spinning plates when it comes to dating. So here's the thing, guys. So as we know already, the statistics are still alive and well, okay? 80% of men are pretty much at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to dating apps, okay? Women find 80% of, maybe even more now, unattractive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's not much those guys can do for the most part.
Yeah.
But if you do happen you do happen to play your cards right, and you do happen to be somebody, like you build yourself up, and so women are gonna throw themselves on you a little bit. Here's how women are going to try to finesse you a little bit on dating apps, just on dating apps. And what I mean by that, it's not even that you're going to meet with them or you have like a long conversation. This is how they're going to try to finesse you a little bit, okay? What they're going to do is, if you're engaging a conversation and you've done like everything good, it doesn't have to be perfect. Let's just say you've done a few things pretty to the T, right? Now, if you get to the point where if she's like kind of nearby and it's like, hey, look, I see you're nearby, let's go out. Or you're saying something, whatever it is. Hey, I know some place, let's go out. And then she's like, oh, this is where the finessing starts. Oh, I can only talk to you through this app, or if you ask her for her number, it's like, oh, well, I can only talk on the app. I'm pretty busy right now. That's how women start finessing you, or they start thinking of excuses like, oh, yeah, I just don't have the time. Oh, I'm only on here and there. Oh, I don't really give my number out, blah, blah, blah.
Or sometimes they want you to take them to a specific restaurant that's expensive or some shit like that. They'll try.
Yeah, and here's how you can sort of get out of it. At least one way. Maybe two, I can think of, or three. One way, guys, is that, again, you cannot fall in for the sim trap, because the thing is that, or just a thirst trap. This is more of a thirst trap than it is a sim trap. The thirst trap really is, she's trying to see if she has basically little insects that she can attach on her web. Okay? And she can just save for lunch later. All right? As a spider analogy. It's just, so she's trying to web up some victims here. So she's like, okay, I'm not going to give him my number. I don't want any of that, but let me see if I can get him to text me constantly and give me attention and validation and things like that. Girls do that. Girls do that on dating apps. As the man, you gotta put that to a halt before it even begins. Okay? What I see some guys do sometimes, and I even did this one time, as a matter of fact, not through a dating app, but just like even like a text message or even Instagram, a long time ago. It's like, I told her, look, listen, I'm gonna give it to you straight. I'm extremely busy when it comes to this type of stuff. I also come on here every now and then. And quite frankly, with my business, my job, I've got a lot of things kind of lined up. I don't really have time to talk to girls on here. Yeah, say it just like that. I don't really have the time or pleasure to anything. To just come on here and just casually talk to girls like that. That's not what I do on here. You say something similar to that. You basically just asserted your position in that interaction. You basically just told her, look, I know where I am in life. I don't have time to get finessed online by a person who's potentially catfishing me. You know what I mean? Like, you're basically telling her that. So if this girl looks at your profile and sees everything, and of course she has to take everything at face value. She doesn't know everything about you.
Right.
But she has to take everything at face value, and she has to make a decision. She has to make a decision on what she's going to do now. So she just saw that you didn't fall for her web. You didn't fall for the thirst trap. So now she has to make a decision. She has to. She's like, oh, well, I kind of like this guy. Like, he seems like, very mysterious. He seems very exciting. He seems like he has things going for him. You best believe girls will change their answer. Whether it's text messaging, through a dating app, through anything. Girls will change their minds. Or if it's in person and you go up to her and then she does the same exact thing. Oh, I don't know. I might have some plans, this and that. And you tell her almost the same exact thing. And you say, oh, I understand. I understand that you're very busy. Things like that. I'm very busy too. Quite frankly, I've got a lot of things going on with my business, things like that. Whatever it is, just so you're not prioritizing her. And then here's how you get her. Here's how you get her to like really stop and think for a moment. It's like, okay, so I'm pretty busy. I'm actually only going to be available on either like a Tuesday, sometimes on a Friday. So I'll tell you what. When you're free, you let me know. You let me know when you can do this and that on these days. Don't go out there and be like, oh, okay, well, how about Wednesday? How about Saturday? Well, I'm free on this. Like, you're making yourself way too available for her.
Yeah.
Way too available for her. It's actually the girls that have to make themselves available for you. It's not the other way around. if girls see that you're becoming too available, then guess what? You're just a typical guy. Another typical guy. Great. The same propensities as all of these beta males. He's just trying to do this and trying to do that. No, men prioritize availability from women. That's not what women prioritize from men. All right? So you say just like that. No, you let me know when you're going to be available on these days, and then I will tell you if I'm available. That's how you do it. That is how you do it. And you will see right then and there if she's truly interested in you or not. That's it. That is it. She might not say anything on the spot and you walk away, or maybe she walks away from you and she says, you know what? She comes back to you. Actually, you know what? I might not be busy on those days. So you just got out of getting finesse. She was about to finesse you hard, but you fall through it. That's how you stop girls from pretty much finessing you. Obviously, that's just one or two ways to do it, but there's other things you can do. But don't get finesse, guys. Okay, that's you definitely don't want that. You definitely don't want that. Ooh, I think a little bonus here, actually. You have anything you want to add on before I
that's it,
have a little bonus point?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can wrap up on this little bonus point here. Okay, gentlemen, so a little tiny piece here for you guys. Avoid coffee dates. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Avoid the goddamn coffee dates. I'm going to tell you why you should avoid the coffee dates. Because here's the thing. Coffee dates are usually done during the day.
Yeah.
In the morning.
I'm glad you brought up this point, because you're right. Not so many people know about this shit either.
Here's what happens with the interaction and just the dynamics, right? It's really women who initiate coffee dates. It's not really guys.
Yeah.
If it's a guy doing that, I want to tell you why you messed up. Like, you really, really messed up here, guys. But it's really the woman who sort of pushed for coffee dates, and I'm going to tell you why. The reason why women push for coffee dates, in most cases, and if she's not that attracted, to a guy, she'll probably initiate or push or insinuate some sort of coffee date. What happens on this coffee date? Number one, you guys aren't really in a setting where you guys can be intimate. Okay? So she's going to be around people. You're going to be around people. She feels a sense of security because she doesn't feel that from you. She has to feel that from other people who she doesn't know being around her, so that way they're witnesses in case you try to make a move on her, or you look weird, or you say something, and then she can cry like, "Oh, this guy's being crazy on me," blah, blah, blah. That's kind of why girls initiate coffee dates. Because they don't feel that safe with you, they don't feel that confident with you, and they probably don't feel that attracted to you, or that aroused by you. So that's number one. It's a security measure. That's one. Number two, it guarantees her attention and validation, but it doesn't guarantee you, as the man, a sexual opportunity. It doesn't. Because number one, it's during the day, in the morning, maybe like early afternoon. She's going somewhere after that. And you're going somewhere after that also. Like, there's no way, even if logistics were planned out perfectly, she's not going home with you.
Yeah, it gets a little awkward.
It does. It's like, oh, well, you want to come back and all this stuff to my house? Like, it's not there. The environment setting is not perfect for that. It's just not. Like, coffee dates are not meant for that. They're not meant for you to build sexual tension with a woman. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's a way for them to feel security in a setting because they don't feel that way originally from you. And you're probably wondering, like, the guys and girls are probably wondering, well, why does a girl go on the date with him anyway? Why? Ask yourselves why. We've said this a bunch of times on the podcast. Free coffee, free dinner, free lunch, free food, free attention and validation. She's getting what she wants.
Yeah.
At the expense of what the man wants. It's that simple. It's that simple, guys. Like, and this is the funny thing also, where if I'm going around, I'm running errands, or if I'm coming from work or I go to the gym, and it's during the day, and I see like these coffee shops like Starbucks or the Cuban coffee places and things like that, and I see like a young couple or anything like that, and I'm just like, bro, you're not going home.
No.
You're not. You're just not. And on top of that, like, you could just see sometimes that the girl isn't really that interested. Like, they have their arms crossed, and you see the guys kind of engaging with her too much, talking too much. It's just like, damn, bro. She's not going home with you, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I never date during the day. It's just a waste, man.
Yeah, man. Like, guys, why are you depriving yourselves from having a chance to sexually build tension with a woman?
Right.
Why? Don't do that. Why? You're better than that. Like, you I don't even know what to say, to be honest with you. It's just like you're depriving yourself of all the opportunities, but it's a win for her.
Yeah.
It's solely a win for her. She doesn't have to give anything up. She doesn't have to give a cent up. Not at all. Absolutely not at all. My goodness. Let's see here. So, you want anything to
No, man, we made it pretty clear. No dating during the day. You should be working. You should be doing other things, but not going out.
Oh boy, that pretty much wraps it up, guys. So we brought up. So I originally had like 5 points. I had like 20 points that we brought up because we ended up kind of going off on like tangents and
That's okay.
and dating and things like that. But that was good though because like guys, look, when we make these videos and you see me kind of go off in different branches, and sometimes they might be a little off the topic of what I'm talking about on hand, but it still relates. It still totally relates, guys. Okay, like be leaders, guide, lead, be masculine.
Yep.
Be happy in your masculine. Be happy that women are in their feminine. Be happy that you're on a date with them and you know and you understand that you can provide value. You can. But the moment, again, like you guys again gotta read between the lines. Like the moment you start feeling that this girl is like kind of gives off this feministic energy, or I don't need a man type of energy, or there's some masculinity kind of going off on her, or she feels like she's the bride, she's the main character. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. Just let her drift off into the abyss and let her kind of wonder, oh, what happened? Like I thought this guy was kind of into me. What happened? You know what I mean? Just let him think about it. You know what I mean? Like you don't even have to waste your time explaining in hard detail of even these types of things that we talk about. Just be like, oh yeah, peace, deuces, you know, and then you're out of it. But that's pretty much it, guys. This is number 25, episode 25, guides to dating. We've spoken about the dating apps. We spoke about even how to like get things going in the gym and things you should probably not do in the gym and even other professional settings or fitness settings.
Right.
Not being super duper invested and looking all interested in a woman off rip like that. We went through a bunch of things there.
Yeah.
And then just like the prize and God, I'm gonna watch this video again just to be like, damn, we talked about God knows how many things. Jesus Christ. But with that said, guys, this is it. This is the Unplugging episode number 25, guys. Today, we really hope up until now you guys have been enjoying all this content. If you guys ever want to join our chat and speak to us, you're free to do that. Or DM us on Instagram or Facebook or any other social media platform if you want to even be a guest. Come on. If you want to debate about something, you disagree with us on something, or you happen to agree on something, or maybe you want our advice on something, or just get something off your chest, just to let it out. No. We're here, guys. Okay? Like, our job is to help improve the dating scene as much as possible within the best of our ability. All right, guys? So this is Leo. This is Chris as the Unplugging, and we are signing out.
All right. See you guys.